Alright, hello. Today I've got a problem. My problem is basically I've been grinding, finally reached level 35. It turns out I had mucked up slightly what counted as which missions were live accurate, and I was avoiding doing some missions which I was able to do and should have been doing. And anyway, having done those, level 35 is now mine. I can now get the Doom Slicer, having used basically no faction gear but the Sorcerer shoulder pads, and honestly, I don't even really rely on those. Mostly the gear that I've picked up in Crux Prime is just better. However, I did aim to get one of these. I'm really, actually, the more I think about it, not certain I will use either of them. But the question is which one I go for. Do I go for the Doom Slicer or do I go for the Wormholer? I feel just for like pure childhood ninja wish fulfillment, I should go for the Wormholer because I always wanted that. So I guess that kind of makes sense. I'm not... Yeah, I don't know which one would be better. But realistically, I'm not certain either is actually hugely worth it. They may have reduced stun time, so it may... Well, I know the Wormholer definitely won't. The Doom Slicer might have reduced stun times, and so it might be more fun to fight with. That's entirely possible. It might have higher DPS, something like that. That could make it more enjoyable to fight with. But realistically, I'm not certain I actually would fight with them. But I guess the only thing that could make me fight with them, like the 8 damage charge up, is not good enough to make me fight with the Doom Slicer. So I guess the only thing that really could persuade me is if the Wormholer is really, really good. Which, I mean, obviously the Wormholer is the classic option when you think of really, really good. Ranged, AoE, I don't know if it's actually high DPS, I think it's relatively low DPS, but any damage stuns enemies, and as long as it does 1 damage frequently enough, then that's more than good enough. I've never played using this. I intended to get... I created a character in Live, which I did intend to get to level 35 Paradox. Never made it. Okay, so as you can see, I literally can't even begin doing Space Marauder because I at no point began doing anything else. I can always sell stuff, as you can see. I've got Wrath. Actually, let's start selling some of that. Oh, if I sell some of this stuff, it means I'm going to have stuff floating around all over the place in my inventory. Didn't really think that through in advance. And it's going to be really hard to find all the gear I'm getting. But anyway, let's read this. Got to read that before I can buy anything. Okay, and then guess just go through, buy all of the gear. I should have enough. I should really look at what I'm doing so I don't accidentally do stupid things like buying that, but should have enough money in faction tokens for this. Not incredibly concerned about it, although if I do buy stupid things like I did a second ago, probably should be. Ah, the Elite Sword of Blocking. That's cool. That used to be one of my favoured items. Can I sell the clothes off my back? Yes, I can. Good to know. So basically, speedrunning buying all of this gear. There we are. I only bought the correct gear this time. And look at that. I didn't put too much of a dent in my... I didn't put too much dent in my money at all, actually. I was quite a bit more concerned. That is not the correct speciality. I know this is the disorganized end of my inventory, but it doesn't make much difference. I'm not ever going to use any of these. Wait a second. Did I already get the book and I just didn't notice it? So I should get the book for... shoulder pads. I'm not wearing any shoulder pads. There we are. You can see my faction tokens are really taking more of a dent here. Anything else? There we are. I can get rid of all of this. And again, it is not worth it for me to use faction gear at the moment, basically. So I'm not really too concerned about any of these. And you may be... so I can actually do something I really never thought I would have done in live. Or in live I never thought I would do. Ever. Let's just open all of these. But I should be able to get... Okay, let's just spam click this. There we are. Wow, that's a lot of stuff I'll never use. So let's sell that. But yeah, I should end up with enough money to buy... This is related to a meme in hashtag development and the OECH, so I feel I shouldn't get rid of it. Yeah, this should... All of this, when I sell some models, this should be enough to actually buy both. Which I wasn't really expecting, but... that's good. I think they're 500 faction tokens each. I have more than 1,000 faction tokens, so that should be fine. Medpack. It won't be anything. That won't get me much money from it, so it's not really worth keeping. Range baseball cap I can probably get rid of. I think I can live with that loss. There we are. Okay, and we're back up to the standard gear section. Okay. Now we just do a quick run back to Nexus Tower and buy the 2 Paradox Valiant Weapons. This is what happens when you don't bother buying any of the faction gear for rank 3. Which actually is kind of a decision I'd recommend. Saves you a ton of faction tokens. Most of it isn't that good. And yeah, I'm quite happy with my decision on that front, actually. So here we are. This is, yeah, I'm genuinely very excited by this. I have never had a proper character. I think I've tried the Wormholer like once or twice, but I don't think I ever used it with, like, enemies. I don't think. And I've certainly never had a proper character with it. So, yeah. I basically I got significantly better at soloing apes, and quite a bit better at soloing dragons. Although dragons are just... Apes are... You can solo 5 apes in a relatively short amount of time. Dragons are just a little bit tedious if you don't have a team. Like, they're entirely doable. Many of you will probably have seen my Butterscorch video, but they're not fun to do. And yeah, let's, in the immortal words of Mario, let's go. We're down to 155, which may seem like a terrible thing, but I've got rather a lot of money in property. Wow, that was actually more than I expected to get out of that. Though the drop rates for those definitely aren't 100% accurate, but I don't think, given the number I have smashed, I don't think 10 of those would be implausible, because I have smashed quite a lot of apes. There we are. Wormholer and the Doom Slicer. So let's go over to Crux Prime and test these out. This is not the fastest way to Crux Prime. It was the way I started running. So yeah, I might as well talk a little bit about what's going to be happening with these with any videos on this channel, given... Oh no, that's actually a problem. I don't know how long DLU is going to be up for. I don't know if I'll have time to do the full Infamous Coin Country playthrough that I was planning on doing. I hadn't actually thought of that. Well, now I have. That's a little bit of a problem. Anyway, yes. For those of you who don't know, DLU will be going open source. Now, I still have the clients. Like, I will be able to play on servers, and we'll probably still make random videos. Basically, it's just going to fracture the community. This whole open source move. Well, it's not like they're doing it by choice. It's kind of fun. And then, of course, you've got problems right at the very end. But that's fun to use, and then to angle yourself properly. That makes for quite a fun Valiant. Of course, it's not fun to melee. Although it's not terrible, actually. Kind of expected it to be worse. I guess should also go somewhere, plop down a mech, see how it performs. High damage. Oh, I guess it did say 4 damage per shot, but yeah. Does this do... Okay, so that does AoE damage. The main attack on this. It moves around. Nice, okay. Okay, that feels fast. That's always nice. I love a weapon that feels fast. You can go away. You're not interesting. Okay, I'm rather low on... Oh, those guys are too high for me to actually hit. Okay. Rather low on armor right now because I have none of my actual gear on. I should swap out some stuff. I don't think realistically I often use those two. I use them in survival and pretty much no other times. So okay, this makes a somewhat reasonable loadout. Okay, so then the next thing, this one, the suggestion was this one did seem to do a lot less damage. I wonder if that's because the damage is AoE or something. Why do I want to use it? That's the question I'm asking myself. I really don't need to do that. Let's put this on, just because it's fun. Oh, and I can't hold that. So yeah, let's go for Doom Slicer then. And let's... I guess I really shouldn't have brought out this hat if I wanted to get an accurate representation of what it can do. So I'll just take this time to regen Imagination, because I will be... This effectively stun locks everything, so I'm pretty much safe whilst I have it equipped. Okay. So, let's... I mean, okay, no, what I really have to do is the obvious Spiderling versus Spiderling. Okay. So bear in mind, Dark Spiderling invaders are technically boss enemies. I'm going to have to stand here so it attacks my thing. Seems fairly evenly matched. Don't know if this does ranged. I don't know how its attacks work. Oh, I'd say not ranged. I don't know if it does AoE. How did that hit me? But regardless, let's just see. I can't really see how much health it's on. Okay, a little over half. Not bad. Not gonna put it up against a... Oh, let's actually get a swarm. I don't need a huge swarm. I just want to see if it does AoE. Oh, yes it does. And a relatively powerful AoE as well. Cool. So yeah, not all of its attacks are powerful, but it's probably better. It probably handles swarms of enemies far better than I would expect the mech does. So probably you want the mech as your DPS tower. Nice. And you want the Spiderling for swarms. Which seems reasonable, kind of makes sense. And yeah, that's about it. I just wanted to quickly show this off, I guess, whilst I'm here. Might also show... So the stats of this just about match the stats of the best thing I have, but none of the stats of the rest of the faction gear can really compete with the stats of the gear I have at the moment. And just to show some of this in action, can use that. Honestly, I'll use this because it's what I do use most of the time. I very, very rarely actually use this attack because currently it doesn't recharge any of my imagination, so I end up losing imagination net. Okay, what do I want to do? That was really not what I hugely wanted to do, but okay, let's go. Let's get this up and running. Quite literally. This is a pretty easy loop you can get into. It took me a little while to work out, but effectively the trick basically is you just do... jumping into the air gives you more speed, but jumping... So you probably want to jump away from this guy unless you're in a pretty safe spot like I was a second ago. But if you double jump, you actually spend too much time in the air and can't get the big one thrown in time. Other things that make this particularly easy is that I'm using my elite Javelin, which has a higher range, so it makes my life a million times easier, and makes this relatively trivial. I'm not even bothering to hot swap items like I normally would. And that's what just... And then hot swapping caused me to take damage like I did a second ago, but it's fine because this loadout does have... Well, yeah, as you can see, the number of skyscraper models I get is not accurate, but I have only sold the 10 you saw me sell. I haven't sold any others. And yeah, that's a relatively quick trick to fight apes, and I mean the loop works with, or it should work with, at the very least, the basic spear. Upwards, anything that has range. I can't guarantee it works with things that don't have range, but anything that has range it will work with. But yeah, I think that's about it. I want to make a little comment that it was suggested to me on a stream a while back by Sniffle Gully that what I could do what I could do on this channel at some point is start doing videos just discussing like cool stuff people have managed to do in the community. And I think that's like a really fun idea, like looking over new worlds, doing stuff like that, covering effectively news, cool stuff people have done, and I think that's going to be more and more prevalent. Nice texture you got there. It's going to be more and more prevalent as we move towards more and more scattered servers. It's going to be a case of seeing people achieve cool things, but they'll be across multiple servers probably. Other things to say is that like client download links do still exist. It's just, in the past, the whole client download stuff was like, yes, this is technically this breaks the EULA, or end user license agreement, and therefore is illegal. But we've seen this screenshot of an email sent by Lego, therefore, where they basically say it's more or less fine. And I wasn't around at the time, but apparently this email was, at the very least, seemed pretty veracious. Veracious, V-E-R. I don't know if that's a word, but I want it to be. As in, has veracity to it. But anyway. Yeah. That was what we've been going off of for ages. And basically, that's the reason. That's what's changed recently. I hear a lot of people asking kind of what's changed. Why are people more scared off? Because we knew this wasn't technically allowed to begin with. What's different now? It's still technically not allowed, but I mean, people have been doing it for ages anyway. The reason it's kind of changed is now Lego's made it a lot clearer that, or sorry, the Lego group has made it a lot clearer that they're not, well, yeah, they're not condoning this, or they're not condoning hosting of the client and sharing of client assets. And that's kind of what's changed. It's gone from, we thought we had some kind of tacit agreement with them that they're fine for it. Now we don't. I believe download links still exist. Not everybody who has a client up has taken it down. I don't know what the legality of downloading a client so it's fairly clear cut that it's probably illegal. It's certainly in the terms and conditions that you can't do it. Whether or not the precise legality of terms and conditions isn't, I seem to remember, an open debate, which varies according to jurisdiction, but it's definitely in the terms and conditions to say, yeah, you're not allowed to redistribute the client. Doesn't say anywhere in the terms and conditions you're not allowed to be using a redistributed client. I'm pretty certain anyway. I'm pretty certain it assumes the client you've gotten is legal in the EULA. I don't know what that means for legality. I'm not an expert on piracy laws. But yeah, it's just to say that if you do look around, download links do exist. I'm not going to condone using them because, like, I think there's a pretty good argument to be made that they probably are. Well, yeah, they probably are illegal, but I know not everyone has taken theirs down. So that's information. I'm not going to say that downloading anything from there is legal. I suspect it isn't, but yeah, I guess it's a case of if you want to effectively, to what may well be breaking the law, depending on jurisdiction, if you want to do that, that's on you. But it is something that technically is still possible, because download links do still exist. But yeah, that was just a small note. I've been Ninja Warlog, and I will see you around. Bye.